You have her ID?
Yeah.
You're under arrest for
Your cell phone. No, I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to?
Because my attorney said not to.
Why do I have to give it to you?
this is evidence.
Evidence.
Ma'am, do me a favor.
She's under arrest. I have to go with. I have to go. I have to look
You don't have no choice.
Let me help you out, sir.
No, I have to stay. Please don't do this.
Don't stay. You need to grab the bags.
Take the bags.
Yeah, and you need to wait outside.
Okay.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't
Yeah,
come
I
with
can't.
me.
Please, can I go?
No, you can't join me there.
Oh, don't do this, please.
Please.
Oh,
Someone's
God.
got to help him get home. This is terrible. You can't do this. This is
Go ahead, grab your house.
Talk to that phone.
Is that okay with you?
Please. You don't have that with handcuffs on. She's not going anywhere. Please. Please.
You have anything in your pocket?
No, no.
Do you have anything of value in you?
No,
Plus you have a necklace on. You
Wanna go?
can take
My-
the necklace
I'll
off.
take
Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
And the earrings.
And the earrings. They're
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record. Okay. Hey, how is everybody? Hello, Raven. Hello, Susan Hicks, Mr. C, Aronco, Jayne, Dean Walker. Nice to see you as always. And thank you, Maestro, for keeping me company today and for moderating so beautifully as you always do. Boy, do I have a fun show for you today. Talking about Donna Adelson. If you missed, I was screening this hearing. If you missed the hearing, you missed out. It was very juicy. After having nothing but boring hearings, we finally had a juicy hearing where Donna testified twice. And if you haven't heard, she wants to get out on bond. She's been put in solitary confinement after complaining that she was being, once again, extorted. It seems to be a theme with this family. Extorted for her commissary in the Leon County Jail. And she had a host of complaints, so much so that I wrote a new song called Donna's Complaint, and I'll play it in a second. But her complaints are she has sciatica, her ear canals, her ears are all clogged up with earwax, but her ear canals are so unusually narrow that no one on the Leon County staff, medical staff, can drain them. She needs her doctor. She needs to get out. She also told the story of her extortion and her arm getting twisted. And she also objects to them using the audio tape. I don't think she has a chance in hell of winning at any of this, frankly, but of using the audio tape where she was talking to Charlie Adelson from the Leon County Jail while she was a free woman. And they got disconnected, but the phone was still recording, and it caught her plans to flee to a non-extradition country. So why did I say that why did I call this episode how Donna Adelson gave away her defense at this hearing? Well, it seemed very obvious to me, and I got a bunch of backlash long time ago. I don't know how many people are here that remember this particular thumbnail I did, But I said her trial strategy was going to be to really emphasize her age and her ill health. Like, you don't want to convict a grandmother. And here we see this all on display at this hearing. She's 72. She can't breathe. And I got in particular trouble for using the oxygen. I put an oxygen tank on the side of her wheelchair. But now she can't breathe. This is like a psychic moment I had here. Because now she says she can't breathe. She's huffing and puffing. Her lawyer can't understand her. She has to talk to her lawyer under a blanket in hopes that her lawyer, Jackie Fulford, can hear her. And even that is ineffective. So I think she's going to use her age. And I think that we're going to see also, we heard Jackie Fulford argue at the end, maybe possible use some of the extortion fake story that Charlie used at his trial that the jury didn't accept. But I think that there was real emphasis at the end of the hearing that all of Tallahassee hates Donna Adelson and thinks she's guilty. She can't get a fair trial here. So there's going to be real close pickings of the jury, the same way they tried to do in Charlie Adelson's trial. So that's one of her strategies. But I think they will play up her age and her grandmotherliness, and she just got caught in something and that they haven't met their burden. We heard a lot of Jackie Fulford, who, by the way, Donna, her son did her a great favor by delaying this trial and getting her new lawyers. These are much better lawyers than Dan Rashbaum. And Georgia Kappelman's got a fight on her hands. But we heard all about her ailments, one after the other. She cut herself and blood was gushing, but she wanted a Band-Aid. Things that made no sense. We'll go through her testimony today, or some of today. I don't know how much I'm going to get through. I cut it together and didn't realize I have quite a lot on my hand. We'll listen to the phone call that got her in trouble. But first, I think should we start with a song? So this is the song I wrote after Donna Adelson's hearing. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. Sorry, I thought it loaded, but apparently it didn't.
I've been blacklisted, dreaming of a way to get bond. Wish Rashi could wave his magic wand. Clanking doors keep me awake at night. Have to pee in plain sight. Wasn't fleeing prosecution. Was going to return to America soon as Harvey and I found Zen. Free me, at least for a little while. Don't know nothing about extradition treaties. Just want a good night's sleep before trial. Sure, Leon County is known for seasons, but how can I live with all these undetectable diseases? Not a part of my body that doesn't feel pain. Ants crawling down my arms. My sciatica is inflamed. My breathing too heavy for my lawyer to decipher. Talking to counsel under my blanket. My feet swollen like I was bitten by a viper. Gain 1/4 of my weight, giving away chips and Twinkies to stay safe. Hate wearing purple, call me vain. My ear canal's too narrow to drain. Can't part of my weight, giving away chips and Twinkies to stay safe. Hate wearing purple, call me vain. My ear canal's too narrow to drain. Can't wear my Speedo. Food is carb heavy. Can't even eat keto. Leon County is known for its season, but how can I live with all these undetectable diseases?
Okay, there we go. So I almost forgot. Thank heavens my song reminded me. But we also saw her trial strategy around this recording where she gets caught, where she talks about ending it all. And then she talks about escaping before the grand jury meets, and that Dan thought maybe she'll make it, but maybe they'll arrest her at the airport. Maybe she'll make it out just in time. And now she's saying that she just needs to clear her head. So that was what those lyrics were about. I don't know anything about extradition treaties. I just needed some time to clear my head because we thought we would get back faster. We would return easier. We wouldn't get stuck in a foreign prison or jail waiting extradition if there was no extradition treaty. I mean, it made no sense. We're going to listen to it all. I had a fun time writing that. I woke up this morning just not really finished with that video, but thanks, hey Jude. But I woke up thinking that was the most ridiculous thing. And I always get sucked in. If anyone's in pain or cries, and I had to remind myself, Dan Markel can't even be bothered with sciatica, thanks to you, Donna. So save your boo-hooing. And her story sounds fake. We'll listen to it. We'll also listen to some of the recording that got her in trouble. Let's get into it. We can see in the beginning here, she's let me put myself side by side here. In the beginning, she's getting into character. I sort of sped this up. And apparently one of the things she was doing was looking at Harvey. Let me just pause it and pull him up. Who looks like Howard Shipman. I was talking to Maestro today, and he said he looks like Howard Shipman. And I thought the same exact thing. Who's a serial killer from the UK. Who is a doctor. Harvey's a dentist. He looks so thin. It looks like he's lost all the weight that Donna's gained. There he is. You can see how gaunt his cheeks look. And he's got this. My understanding is those hearing aids are kind of cheap, this hearing aid. I would think he would have the totally like the little bean hearing aids. But maybe he's losing them. I had heard that he wasn't doing well without Donna. But it's curious to me that he didn't come into court at all for his son's hearing. And here he is at Donna's hearing. I don't think Harvey will ever be arrested for any of this, although I'm certain that he was a part of the planning. I think he's kind of an emotional mess. I think they couldn't trust him for any of the doing of it, but I'm sure he was in on the planning sessions of this. That's my theory on it. I can't prove it, obviously. But there's, of course, the tape where they're at Japanese dinner, and there's a recording of Harvey and Charlie, and he seems to be in the know on everything. And I think the Georgia Kappelman and Sarah Dugan have a fight on their hands here. It's going to be a fascinating, great trial. I got really excited after this hearing. She's got some good lawyers to represent her. And you have to remember that this has been going from the easiest fish. So you have to think of the Dan Markel case a little bit like a house. So they laid the foundation with the shooters, then the middle woman. Then they had trouble with Katie. Then Charlie, which was no trouble at all. He was convicted in 2.5 hours. And I think if she had Rashbaum representing her, it would have been a similar kind of fate, very quick verdict. But this, I'm not so sure. Jackie Fulford really hammers home about the burden that they have. And I can see a juror say, well, there's no smoking gun. Of course there isn't, but there's a lot of circumstantial evidence in this case that all fits together, that there is no other equally good. You know, Occam's razor is often explained or thought of as, well, if you have two ideas, you pick the simplest one. Where it's really, if you have two equally good ideas, you pick the simplest one. So if you have two equally, or explanations, in this case, if you have two explanations, either she was extorted in an odd way, or her son was extorted, and he told no one except her, and you know, all this nonsense, or every piece of evidence and everyone's lying, or all the pieces fit. And that's why puzzle pieces was the worst analogy, metaphor for Dan Rashbaum to use in his defense of Charlie Adelson. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher to convict Donna. That's why she's been saved to last. And the toughest is going to be Wendy. And that is going to be the very last, I think. They get a conviction with Donna. If Donna gets a hung jury or an acquittal, I think the chances of Wendy Adelson getting arrested in this case shoot down quite a bit lower. Free Donna. AI Jen McCabe did it. There you go. Little Karen Reed crossover humor. Always good. So here's Donna getting into character. You see the furrowed brows start right away. And apparently she looked at her lawyer and said he looks so thin, meaning Harvey. So this is so it starts out with they're trying to get the phone call thrown out. I thought we'd just go through the phone call, thanks to Pretty Lies and Alibis channel for having the complete phone calls, for getting them, for having them up. So here we go. And I think I'm going to have to let out my cat. Hold on. Can you guys hold on 1 second? Let me let out my cat. 1 second. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. I'm not going to play a thing. I'm just going to get up. 1 second. Okay, we are back. That wasn't too bad, was it? I hope not. Thank you for your patience. I had a feline emergency.
One into trial.
So it's curious to me that this phone call, I skipped some of the beginning. I hope you're okay. Some of the beginning is they're talking about, Donna asks Charlie, why can't he move his trial out of the state of, if he gets a retrial, out of the state of the city of Tallahassee to just some other random city in Florida?
If there was an appeal, would it have to be in Tallahassee, or can you move it? Because I don't understand why they wouldn't let you move the venue. I don't. It was blatantly, I mean, look, I have, I didn't say this to you before I picked up the phone, but there's a lot of things that we have to do, and we've got a very tight time frame. So one of them involves taking care of some things for Roman, taking care of some things through Steinberg. Dad's been on the phone all day, and Susan was nice enough when I called her. She said, I'm going to gather everything up and I'm going to drive down. So she and Rick got here about, 10 minutes before you called, so that she could work with us, because we got a couple of hours of stuff to take care of for Roman. So working on that, and
So this is Donna. We know now, thanks to this stupid hearing, that she doesn't have a chance in heck of getting bond. That we now know that her trial strategy, and she's let the prosecution know that her trial strategy is that she wasn't fleeing. I was joking. I said, what is she going to say? They caught her on the jetway. The reason they catch you on the jetway is so that you can't say, oh, I just came to the airport for the honey buns, for the whatever else is there at the airport, the massage chairs. We just bought a souvenir ticket of our time at the airport, and we weren't ever going to get on the plane. The reason they arrest you on the jetway so you can't say you weren't leaving the country. So now she's saying we just needed to clear our head. We had a whiff of a suspicion, as Dr. Loftus said in her testimony, a whiff of a suspicion. I love that phrase. A whiff of a suspicion that they might arrest her, but they just had to clear her head because they were going crazy and they were coming back. But you can hear her say in this call, we're not coming back. But thanks, Donna, for for your feeble attempt at trying to get out, for letting the prosecution know your entire defense strategy. And I wonder if Rashbaum would have let her do this. But her lawyers, you could see Jackie Fulford fighting very hard for her at the end of the hearing. Let my client out. She's old. She cannot prepare for trial. Judges don't like to hear that their defense client can't prepare for trial. She can't prepare for trial without leaving jail. She's not getting any sleep. We can't communicate. I think this is just a Hail Mary pass. So for a Hail Mary pass, she did this. So there's going to be a lot of talk about this telephone call, and throw it out because she didn't know she was being recorded because she didn't hang up properly.
Just a lot. But you're going to be okay. You're going to get out of that stupid room. Once you do, you'll start to feel a little bit better. I know that. And when I have something that I do need to tell you, I'll speak to Dan. Okay? So then I'll let you know what time to call him. Can you hear me, Charlie?
Debbie Gibby, I don't know. You don't think it won't be too much of a fight? There's too much evidence, a lot of circumstantial evidence. All you need is a juror who thinks, what if? I mean, we just saw in the ASAP Rocky case, the guy did it on tape and he got acquitted. So you don't know. And I feel like as there's these defense narratives in the public, people are more inclined to go with loopholes or even preposterous theories rather than convict someone, especially an older woman. I don't know. I think we got a little bit of a fight on our hands here. I hope you're right, Debbie. If you're right and I'm wrong and she gets convicted in 2.5 hours, I'll be coming back here going, Debbie Gibby was right. Just like Charlie Adelson was, 2.5 hours with lunch. No, I don't have. I'm in the city, funny bunny. I'm in an apartment building. There is no outdoors. I would never let my cats out anyway. But yeah, no, just when you shut a room door, yeah, shut a door in this apartment, they go crazy. My little kitty goes crazy.
Shit. You can't hear me again, right? Charlie. Charlie, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I mean, yeah, that's interesting. Chewy Boy says Charlie is paying for his deeds now. And one of the points was, well, Harvey knew that the phone was off the hook and eventually, and the call was still recording, eventually hung up. Why didn't you, Donna? She was asked about pocket dials. You'll hear in a second. Harvey's paying for his deeds now. Wendy's next. The way I hear this family was presented as the perfect family. 2 doctors as sons and a lawyer. A daughter is a lawyer who graduated top of her class. Brandeis, I mean, really impressive. One doctor, and they're both, Charlie's an is that right? Orthopedics for teeth, is that right? Orthodontics. Even surpassed his father, is Dennis. And now he's got a wife in jail and a son in prison and a daughter who doesn't really talk to him and a son who doesn't really talk to him at all, who's totally, let's not forget the oldest son, who Robert, it was like, I don't understand why nobody is interested in what happened to Dan Markel. Strangely, no one in the family was curious about what happened to Dan Markel. I mean, the easy answer is they all knew because they did it. They were a part of it.
I'm sorry, the 4th time that they cut the line each time. But they pay for every minute, but they keep charging every time you reconnect. They say that doesn't happen. It's that he's in this room so the psychologist, they want to make sure he doesn't kill himself. So the psychologist finally came and he said to her, if you leave me here, I'll kill myself. There's no light, no nothing. I'm in a cement block. Let me go back to myself and see where I am. Rest of me, please don't leave me here. And spoke to him for a little bit. And she said, no, you're perfectly fine. I know that.
So after his conviction, as all convicted people are, they're on ending it all watch. Funny Bunny says Dan Markel's kids, are not dumb. No, they're not. Here they're very precocious and very bright. Whatever you have to say about Wendy Adelson, she's not a dumb woman. One day they will know the truth. Believe so. It's just that age when you can see, it's a very crucial part of growing up to see when you go from seeing your parents as infallible and perfect to seeing them as real human beings. But who wants to see their grandmother, grandfather, uncle, mother as killers? Who wants to delve into that? Denial is so much easier.
I've got a few of these reports I have to write. Once I get those written and then submit them and then get them approved, you'll be able to go back. So he thought he was going back in an hour, but that she better get that thing done because I'll lose my mind in here. It's just all spirit on the inside. So all you see is yourself. The lights never shut off, day or night. These fluorescent lights, he says, are on all night. He said, I just want to go back where I was. At least I know people. I can see people. This is here. I'm in a box. So he's just. What? I mean, I'm sure.
And isn't it curious that this is the same situation that Donna's now herself trying to get out of? And you can hear the anxiety in her voice. And she takes something to sleep every night. She also says in this, I might just skip forward.
Just keep getting disconnected. I didn't even know if you were drinking. He wasn't saying Coke. I ordered nothing. So I That's where I'm very, I think very tight time. Because I could have what? But I don't want to do you know what I want to do. But like I said, both of those. I think it would be a nice way to just leave you alone, say goodbye. I am not myself. Go to prison. Because he didn't do. I can't push it. I'm not that strong. And I also know.
Oh, Donna, you are that strong. I don't believe for a second that she's having breathing problems. She may be having back problems. Welcome to middle age and older age. We all have back problems. Welcome. But I'm just not that strong. I'm not that strong. I don't know. I can't handle it. When she's losing her, you can hear her high anxiety. She's trying to get everything in order and flee because they say the fear of being arrested is worse than the jail experience. And I think she was really enjoying jail because she could manipulate in general population because she loves manipulating people. And it's a system that she loves gaining the system. And you can hear that she's already been given a special mattress for her bad back. Try that in another jail in, say, Brownsville, Brooklyn, or anywhere else. Philadelphia, inner city of Philadelphia. I don't think they're going to be giving you a special mattress for your achy back, but okay. But now she's really, all of her controls have been taken away. You know, her ability to manipulate other people has been taken away because now she's in solitary. Her favorite game has been taken away, manipulating other people.
How he, in a year and a half, his body and everything just slowly started to deteriorate. I'm old. I have a life. We had a great marriage. Happy, we traveled, we lived good. I really am not unhappy. And I'm more than willing to just say goodbye and let me lie down. It's nothing painful. I just want to go to sleep. We bought our cemetery property a couple months ago. We're good. I'm good. I went into this weekend because I said something that made her feel like I had enough, and I'm not going to watch. If the trial doesn't go well, I know what I need to do.
Right. That's what a thing to do to Charlie, too. His one support system. You know, Wendy's not going to support him. And they never showed up at trial. I was shocked to hear that Harvey was there. They wouldn't go within, 500 feet of the courtroom. When Charlie was on trial, facing life in prison, which he's now doing. This is the most selfish, you're on your own family. So Harvey was not on board for her plan to end it all.
Now, you know something was wrong because he lived here 9 years. Yeah. She's never once just come over and said, I need to talk to you.
Okay, so she complains about Wendy. And she reads this letter. I'm going to skip forward to Donna's testimony, but she says, Dan says maybe we were going to make it out. But now she said she was coming back. They just needed to clear their head in a non-extradition country. And some of the evidence we now know against her is her internet searches and her communication with the Thai embassy. They were going to Thailand and getting their visa, the longest visa they could, 90 days. I don't know how they were going to renew it. That would have been interesting. But here's Donna coming up, talking about her phone, this phone call.
Please raise your right hand as best as you can. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? Yes. You may take the seat. Please speak loudly and clearly. You may examine Mr. Zellman when you're ready. Thank you, Your Honor. Just a moment.
Hey, Bling, nice to see you. Hey, thanks for being a member for 4 months. I appreciate it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record and make sure you speak into the microphone?
Yes, Donna Adelson.
Now, I want to direct your...
So the curious thing about all her ailments is that when she had x-rays, they couldn't find anything wrong. She thought she was going to have a heart attack. They couldn't find anything wrong there. Her back's hurting. But she wouldn't take a epidural they were going to give her. And she's like, my doctor does an epidural. And on cross-examination, they said they offered her a certain kind of epidural. I don't know, steroid epidural. So she refused it. So get ready for Donna's great acting job. I'm not saying it's easy in jail. I'm just saying if she can't have what she wants out. She can't be in general population manipulating those people in her pod. She wants out.
Attention, we heard the call earlier. The call on November 7th of 2023 at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and for the record, that was call number 561. Do you remember where you worked?
Yes, I was in my apartment in my living room.
Do you remember who was present when you got the call?
Yes, my husband, Harvey, and friends of mine, my attorney, Susan Brotman, and her husband, Richard Shadron.
You said your attorney. What kind of law does Ms. Brotman practice? Or did she?
She does estate planning.
Was Ms. Brotman present at your apartment for the purposes of providing you with legal counsel?
Yes, she was.
And do you remember receiving the call from Charlie?
Yes, of course.
And where was Charlie at the time?
So he was in a...
Okay, it was are you a... Thank you, Lolly, for correcting me. It was a steroid injection. And I am intramuscular, not an epidural. She wanted an epidural. Thank you, Lolly, for correcting. But you would think that if you're in massive pain with your back, you would take anything offered. No? Meanwhile, she's taking Tylenol that apparently doesn't touch the sides.
He was in a room by himself. It was after the conviction.
Was he in the jail?
He was in jail.
Okay. What did you do when you saw that Charlie was calling?
Answered the phone.
And you heard the recording that we played earlier?
Yes.
And you agreed for your call with your son to be recorded, correct?
Yes.
This also made me think that she might testify. And she's maybe a much better actress than Wendy, I think. What do you guys think? Maybe I'll put up a poll. Who's a better actress? Donna or Wendy? I just picked up the phone. He called, I picked up the phone. All she has to do is get one juror to like her and hold out, and she's got a hung jury. Now, she has to pay for her defense again, and she's not getting out of jail.
As the call was happening, do you know at what point Charlie was no longer on the call?
No, only when because I was talking, and then all of a sudden I asked him something, and I said, "Charlie, do you hear me, Charlie?" And I said it a few times, and he didn't respond anymore, and I knew the call was over.
Now, in the course, during the time that your son was incarcerated in Leon County Jail, did that happen more than, was that a frequent occurrence?
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot, unfortunately.
Okay. And would there be times when you didn't realize at first that he was no longer on the call?
Yes.
Where in your apartment were you when this happened?
So I was in my living room.
And you heard your voice on that first call number 562, when you repeated, "Charlie, Charlie, are you there?"
Right.
Did you believe the call had ended?
The problem is I don't hear any heavy breathing. I know she's sighing, but that's not the same as heavy breathing.
Yes.
And what would, in times prior to this, what would happen after that? What would you do when that would happen?
If he didn't respond anymore, that was it. The call was over.
And what would you do with your phone?
I'd hang up.
Now, same thing with the call on November 8th of 2023, the one at 6:30 in the morning. Do you know at what point your son was no longer on the phone?
I don't. I don't remember the call.
In either one of those situations, or in both of those situations, did you believe the call was over?
Yeah, the call was over. He was gone.
And you went about your business?
Yes.
Now, with respect to the November 7th.
Well, the call was over. Well, the call was over for me because he was gone. So it was over for me, so we shouldn't use it. Never mind that Harvey noticed that my phone was still going and we were still connected. It was over for me. What a great argument. This doesn't have a chance in heck of getting thrown out, I don't think, these calls. Nice try. This is her lawyers doing everything they can for her. But can you imagine if Rashbaum were doing this? Oh. I know he got some things thrown out for Charlie, but I don't think they have any chance of getting her bond. That's just ridiculous. But she must be nagging them constantly that she needs to get out on bond. 2023
phone call when your attorney, your husband, and your husband were present at your apartment. Did you agree for your attorney-client conversation to be recorded?
No.
Did you agree for your conversation with your husband to be recorded?
No, of course not.
Now, the following day, did you agree for your subsequent conversation with your husband to be recorded?
No.
Yeah, wait till you hear her testimony about getting beat up. Again, right. So it just said her big ears and her pretty little teeth. She needs a new script writer. Her dialogue is a screenwriter's daughter. I can say, I feel like I have a little knowledge in this area. Her dialogue is terrible. Terrible ear for dialogue. and she should not write her own dialogue. Just skip over it when anyone has to say anything. Remember when she was saying the jail was treating her terribly and calling her the fancy lady? So this seems to be the thing she does when she's unhappy in Leon County. She's read that, and she also refers to the manual in this testimony of this hearing as something she's like, she probably knows that manual backwards and forwards. And like my mother says, she has a criminal mind. So you have to know the rules to go around them. She probably would have been a great lawyer. She went another way. I mean, that's the thing, you know. I think about this case and I think about problems, you know, within families, and I try to be fair, you know, and I know they had vast differences, and just the kosher eating is not a small thing. And it's how you raise your children. But where do they decide that, you know, they go into murder? When did they decide? When did an upstanding family? And the answer to that is that they were never that upstanding. They always had the facade of being upstanding. They were never that upstanding a family. They were always kind of criminally minded people who had to get their way. And I mean, I think that this hearing is another testament to Donna having to get her way, hook or by crook. Hey, Funny Bunny says, wonder if Harvey found a new squeeze. I don't think so. I can't say everything I've heard, but all I can say is that really, it was really hard to have their son in prison. I mean, convicted. They were all in La La Land thinking he was getting out, arranging for his coming home. Charlie was giving away his food. They thought he was getting out. So I may have to do some of this hearing tomorrow. It's rather long, but it is rather juicy and I think needs to go through it. There's a lot of stuff in it, besides the fact that she's given away almost her entire defense. So we know she's going to say, clearing my head. She's going to use her age, all that stuff we know. And they may just say, they may not go with an extortion defense. Charlie's defense, they may just say it's not proof of anything. They may think of other reasons why she didn't go to the police when she was confronted in the bump. So if you don't know, if you're new to this case, the bump is when an undercover, I feel like there's not too many people who are new to this case in the audience, but an undercover officer, they came up to her, trying to extort her for money, just to get them all, to get all the conspirators in this case talking, and it worked.
Now, you heard the recording. To consent to this call, press 1. Or recording of this call, press 1. Correct?
Correct.
You hung up the phone after those calls were over.
Thought I did.
Just a moment, Your Honor. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
This is interesting. She gets asked about
So
pocket.
there in the room with you during this call was...
She gets asked about pocket dials, and she pretends like she doesn't know what pocket dials are. She's like, that could have happened. She's never pocket dialed. Her phone has never accidentally dialed someone before in her life. That could have happened.
You said your one of your attorneys, Susan Brotman, your husband, and then also Susan Brotman's husband.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And he was not your attorney?
He was not.
Your attorney?
No, he's not an attorney.
Okay. You were informed at the beginning of that call, this is the one on November 7th that recorded you while they were all in the room. You were informed that you were being recorded if you accepted that call?
Yes.
Okay. And that if you do not want to be on that recorded call, that you needed to hang up the call. Is that right?
Are you saying, does the recording say?
Right. If you do not want to accept that recorded call, you should hang up.
If you do not, yeah, no, I accepted the recorded call.
Okay. And you typically do hang up your calls, you said, after
I mean, I think I do.
your calls with
yeah.
Charlie Adelson when he was in custody. All right.
Yeah, I think I do. I hope I do. I hope I hang up my calls. Brother's saying Wendy's disgusting, but she learned it from her parents. Let us not forget that her parents did not show up for Charlie's trial and were ready to go to a non-extradition country and leave him alone with no support in prison. How were they going to support him besides monetarily? And that says so much about their values. This family missed the point of life. Money, material goods are everything for them. And a little lacking on the emotional support. And I just hope that Dan Markel's kids are okay and don't inherit those values.
But this particular call that day, evidently you did not properly hang up, right?
Evidently.
Okay. And have you ever forgotten to press the button on a call before?
I mean, it may have happened. I don't know.
Sure. Has your phone pocket dialed people before?
Has it what?
Pocket dialed people before? When you've been out of custody.
Pocket dialed?
Right.
I don't know what you mean.
Like if your phone is in your pocket or in your purse and it accidentally calls someone you didn't mean it to?
I mean, that could have happened, sure.
Okay. And you...
That's curious. I'm in the minority group on this. Once again, have a minority opinion. I think Donna's the better actress. I thought Wendy's performance at the police station was awful. There were fake crying that changed on a dime. But maybe it's that Donna has the prop. She has the shackles. She has the weight gain. She has the shuffling from the shackles. All that's going to be, she's going to be in civilian clothes and trial. Let's see. I don't think she's going to glam up. I think she's going to want to, keep up this kind of poor old grandmother thing. And they're going to say she didn't know, she wasn't with it. She didn't know how these things work. She didn't know how an extortion works if they go with an extortion offense. Yeah, I'm looking at the poll. We have Wendy 65% to Donna. So curious. I think that's interesting. I find that very interesting. Love to have a discussion, roundtable discussion about it. Why people think that.
You also could have not pressed the button on your cell phone to end a call before, right?
It's possible.
Okay. It's not quite as big of a deal as it used to be when you would actually have to hang up the phone. Right. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Redirect examination.
Briefly, Your Honor. The consent that you gave for the call to be recorded, when did that end?
It ended when Charlie hung up, or when whatever stopped the call. I mean, I don't know how it stopped, but it stopped. When the call was over with Charlie, it was over.
Nothing further.
You may step down.
So she's it's curious, she's shaking. I think she's just nervous. She knows he has to put on the performance of a lifetime. Hey, Donna, you can be a very good actress when you want to be. That's what she told her daughter, Wendy. But I mean, just here, I mean, I just found this fascinating to look at her. All the props are gone. So, I mean, if you look at her let me just pull this out for a second. If you look at her on The Price is Right, she's calling herself a domestic coordinator. Do I have it? Yeah.
Donna Adelson from Coral Springs, Florida. I want to hear all about you, Donna. Let's go.
Well, I'm a domestic coordinator.
A domestic coordinator?
Yes. I'm responsible for the activities, classes, and lessons of my son Robert, who is 16, Charlie, who is 12, Wendy, who is 10, my husband Harvey, who's in the audience, and my dog Sam.
All right. And how old is Sam?
5.
5. Well, good. So give him our best. Nice to have you here. And
So, I mean, just she had not a hair out of place. She's got the jewelry, the clothes of the moment, perfect makeup, perfect hair, speaks well, wife of a doctor. Her children are all wildly successful. And to watch her shuffle in shackles, overweight, no makeup, all her props are gone. It's kind of fascinating, no? Oh, thanks, Barb. Nauman, nice to see you. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I mean, if you told me, I mean, I knew she wasn't going to. I know other people were saying, other content creators were saying, oh, she's not going to make it in jail. But she seemed to be really thriving and enjoying jail in some ways. It's a schedule she can follow. There's no surprises. And when she's complaining about not sleeping, you have to kind of laugh because she was telling June Chenda, that Dan Markel was haunting her from the grave and she couldn't sleep and her life was hell because of Dan Markel. It's not that what she did to Dan Markel, it's what Dan Markel did to her by making her perform a bit of a higher. I mean, that's the way she thinks about it. It's his fault for not letting the Adelson family bully him.
Okay. And where did you go falling solitary?
To the N pod, like N is in November. It's an open pod, general population.
What does that mean, open pod, general population?
So I was with 60 some odd other inmates, all in one open area.
And you had beds in your room, I assume?
There were each sections off about 10 women. So, and there'd be a cement wall, and then there'd be another 10 women and a cement wall. So it was fairly quiet, actually, even with that many women, because we were separated in small groups, so it wasn't that loud.
Okay, and do you recall when you were taken out of the in like Nancy pod?
Yes, in August, they said they had maintenance to do and that we would be moved to the annex, which is a building outside of the jail.
Okay, and so I'm not going to be specific as to dates, but you were arrested in November of 2023 in solitary confinement for 50 days to whatever date that took you to.
January 9th.
Okay, and then from January 9th all the way through some date in August of 2024.
Correct.
You were in the in like Nancy pod. And then you said you were transferred to the annex. Can you describe the conditions inside the annex, please?
So the annex is kind of a temporary type building. It's not a brick building. It's kind of like a temporary building, and it's and there are 66 women, all in bunk beds, all open. You're kind of one on top of the next. It's
from August of 2024 until when? How long did you stay in the annex?
I was moved again on February 3rd, 2025.
Okay. Okay, and you were here when the gentleman was testifying about the call buttons to...
Right, 2 days, I believe it is, before her birthday. And it happens to be my birthday. So, your gift for your birthday, Donna, is you get to be moved to solitary, which you'll hate, which is louder. And I don't doubt her that it's louder. But hey, coercive control. Are you in the UK by chance? I'm just coercive control is a crime. I just know it's a crime in the UK, not here. Just curious by your name. Sorry, by distraction. Yeah, she gets moved right before her birthday. I don't know if we'll make it all the way through this, like I said before. She has quite a tale to tell.
To alert someone if you're having a medical emergency. Was there one of those?
Did I hear wrong, Ava? I remembered 73, but I sometimes confuse odd numbers. Didn't she turn 75? I thought it was 72 or 73, but I may be wrong. You may be right, Eva. Does anyone else know?
In the N pod?
No.
I tend to remember her birthday because it's a couple days after mine.
Was there one in the annex?
No.
Okay. I'd like to start.
Isn't that curious that she's like, it was a larger woman who attacked me? Her name was Large Marge, says Mr. C. It's on tonight, making me laugh. But it just seems so made up, the whole thing. She's 75. Thanks, Barb. Thank you. I'm wrong. Okay. Thought it was 72. 75. Thank you for the correction. Try to keep things factual here. She was arrested at 72, 73. Seems like yesterday she was arrested, doesn't it? November 13th. I'll remember that day. Sunday.
The motion for a bond that we filed in this case, as the court indicated earlier, one of the issues that we have raised are medical conditions that you're facing. So I'd like to start with your medical conditions and present some testimony to the court about those, okay?
Okay.
Okay. We're not going to go over every medical condition you've had since you've been incarcerated in the jail, but I'd like to start with one that...
Right, she won't snitch on a woman who's not even there anymore. She knows that she can get out if she snitches on a woman who's no longer in Leon County. Why wouldn't she? It's because it never happened. It's the only reason. I mean, it's the only answer that you can think of. Let's see.
that you have that's...
And then she takes months to report it.
Causing you some pain in your leg and back area.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just start with this. Can you describe to the court the kind of pain and discomfort that you're having with this particular injury or issue?
Yeah, it's I know what it is because I've had it in the past. It's sciatic pain, and I get like a pulling kind of shooting pain down my legs.
Okay. And you said you've had it in the past. You mean prior to becoming incarcerated at the Leon County Jail?
Yes.
Okay. And during the course of time before into your hands?
Yeah, the pain is like, it's like hot. It's like a burning pain, and my thumb, index, and middle finger have gotten like tingling. It almost feels like ants are crawling on them. It's like a numbness of those fingers.
Okay. And is this pain that you were experiencing prior to your incarceration at Leon County Jail?
No.
Okay. About when did this pain begin?
So I was assaulted by another inmate while I was here the beginning of October.
October 2024?
Yes.
Can twisting your arm cause that kind of nerve pain? I had just that kind of tingling down my arm when I hurt my neck, but for like I would never describe it as ants crawling on me, but okay. I'm just curious. I mean, can you do that from twisting your arm? Forensic RN, anyone who's maybe a nurse?
And when you say here, do you mean the Leon County Jail?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Since you began experiencing that pain, since October of 2024, have you requested medical treatment?
Yes.
And what has the response been?
Thank you, forensic. Okay, so you can. Good to know. So this could happen. It could have happened. She could have messed up her arm another way when she walked into the washing machine. She could have pinched a nerve.
They said they would take an x-ray, but in the meantime, I could have Tylenol.
Okay. And you said that was in approximately October of 2024. Have you been requesting treatment for that pain since October of 2024?
Several times.
Okay.
Yes.
And you heard the testimony of the gentleman previously. At some point, did they do an x-ray on your arm?
Yes.
And when was that?
It might have been February 3rd. No, that's the day I moved. It's shortly after February 3rd. I don't know the date.
Was it after you were removed and placed in protective custody?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Is the Tylenol helped with the pain that you're experiencing?
No.
Wait. I don't understand. So she said this incident happened in October, right? But she didn't ask for pain meds until after she was moved? Doesn't this sound like a story she made up just so that she could? It sounds like drug-seeking behavior. It's odd, right? I can't get... I think her lawyer informed her that maybe they could get her bond, and she started on a plan. She's a woman always with a plan. So she started on a plan, and she's going to see it through. And she's going to give a performance of a lifetime.
After they performed the x-ray, were you called back into the medical unit?
It was for another reason, but they did call me, and they told me that that the x-ray showed no fracture.
Okay.
So Gary Plum, is that they offered her a steroid Meadors dose pack? So that's like steroids that you take, like steroid pills. Is that what that is, Gary? I need a co-host who's in the medical field. Should I put up? Anybody want to come on and handle the medical aspects of this story?
No fracture. That's what they were looking for.
That's what they were looking for.
Did they offer any type of physical therapy for your shoulder? Anything at all?
No, I asked.
Thank you. This is my new co-host, Forensic RN. It's an oral steroid. That's what I thought. Okay. We're all on the same page. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I was just trying to figure out her story. But she turned it down? She turned down the steroids?
I asked if they could do anything for it, and they said no.
Okay.
Tylenol.
Because sometimes they give me that for my asthma, and you feel great in the beginning. I love it. I love when they put me on prednisone. But then you have then you're hungry all the time, and you eat like a crazy person. And then I get really irritable. It goes bad very quickly. My poor boyfriend. My mood gets terrible. But in the beginning, it's fun.
All right. Do you have any other medical conditions that you wanted us to address in the bond hearing that you're suffering from?
So I have a hearing issue.
Okay.
I have a problem. I evidently have very narrow ear canals, and so get the wax builds up in my ears to the point that, I mean, I have officers that say to me, "Are you deaf, Adelson?" When I don't respond to them, it's because I don't hear them. And so I did ask for help in the, I asked the doctor if there was anything they could do for me, and I told her what's normally done, and she said,
Do you really think the guards talk to her like that? You deaf, Adelson? Again, with the dialogue, I have a hard time believing this dialogue that they're going to talk to a 75-year-old inmate like that, but they really that rude? Are they really that rude? It sounds to me more like, it sounds like Cool Hand Luke or something. We got a communication problem here, Adelson. Anybody remember that movie? Yeah. So they said, let me do the scene. Let me set the scene. So they said to me, "Are you deaf, Adelson?" And I couldn't hear them. Because I can't hear what they're saying, the guards. And then I went back to my cell, and then we had a contest to see if I could eat 50 eggs, but nobody could eat 50 eggs. Think it went like that?
we use Debrox to soften the wax, and then you come down 3 or 4 days later, and we use a bulb syringe to remove it. And I said, that doesn't work. I need a different procedure. And she said, that's all we can do for you.
Okay. And did you know, based on your prior treatment before you came into the...
What we have here, thank you, Barb, is a failure to communicate, Adelson. What are you, deaf, Adelson? I'm sorry, officer. I can't hear you. I can't hear. My ear canals are just so small.
The Leon County Jail, that it required something other than the flushing system.
Yes, I did know.
Do you recall the name of the doctor that you saw for this condition?
Yes, I've seen him for years. Dr. Molina.
Okay, and Dr. Molina, how long do you think that you saw him for this condition prior to your incarceration?
I mean, several years.
She didn't want to see a Jewish doctor? No, not a Jewish doctor.
4 years, 5 years, I don't know.
I say this as a Jewish person.
Okay, and during the course of his treatment for you, how often would you go to have the wax removed from your small ear canals?
Yeah, every 3 to 4 months. If I waited longer than that, I couldn't hear.
Okay, and did he use a flushing method, or did he do something different?
No.
What did he do?
He used some kind of, I don't know what it's called, but it's some kind of an electronic device that he puts one end in my ear, and he's able to remove the wax using that device, that medical device.
And in your experience prior to incarceration, when you were having that procedure done, did your hearing improve?
Immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, immediately.
So I would like to see her medical records. And then Jackie Fulford did a really smart thing where she objected to the use in cross-examination of her medical records. Yeah, she's got, Jackie Fulford was a judge. I mean, she's got, like I said before, I'm really excited for this trial. I think it's going to be worth the wait. You know, I felt sad because everything was kind of had a momentum to it, from her arrest to the trial from Charlie's conviction to Donna's arrest right after to the release of the audio of Charlie and Donna talking. Everything sort of had a momentum. But now I think, we don't have to listen to Dan I mean, I don't know if she could have even appealed on ineffective assistance of counsel. I mean, never mind the issues with the fact that he was Charlie's lawyer. The whole thing was so dumb. Why Dan Rashbaum presented to the court like he had a signed waiver from Charlie when he didn't was so dumb. But okay. I feel mostly bad for the taxpayers of Tallahassee that will have to foot this bill. But I think we're in for a really good trial here. I think Donna's going to take the stand. I think she's going to put on the performance of a lifetime.
May I approach the witness, John?
You may.
Mrs. Adelson, I've shown you what the defense has marked as Defense Exhibit 1 for purposes of this hearing, and it's a report from Dr. Molina, your doctor. Could you review that just to yourself for a moment? Okay. Does that describe the treatment that he was providing to you?
Yes.
Okay, and it includes a recommendation that you continue to receive the same treatment, potentially with another ENT in Tallahassee, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, this time.
And if Robert testifies, that's the person I'd like to hear from the most, is Robert. I just want to hear him tell the story of asking his mother, what do you think, and Wendy, and Harvey, and Charlie, what happened to Dan? Aren't you curious what happened to Dan? And they all have zero curiosity. If I were a juror, that would raise my eyebrow. I wouldn't convict on just that testimony alone, obviously, but boy, human beings are more alike than we are dissimilar. And I know defense attorneys like to make a big deal of everyone reacts differently. Yes, on a spectrum of normalcy, when something is so off the spectrum of normalcy, you could be very stoic about Dan's murder, or you could be hysterical, etc., emotional reaction. But this, they have no curiosity. I would love to see Robert Adelson testify in his mother's trial. And never mind just a son going up against his mother. How often do we see that? The last time I saw it was a son going up against his father, but he was like a small child. It was awful. And he had to be cross-examined by his father. Oh, that was a horrible case.
Defense would offer Defense Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Any objections to Defense 1?
No, sir.
Defense 1 is admitted.
Yeah, for sure.
You may. Thank you.
During the time that you have, without disclosing any of the conversations, of course, but during the course of the time that you have met with counsel at the jail, have you had difficulty hearing us while we're trying to discuss your case with us?
Yes.
And what about over the telephone? Are you experiencing difficulty hearing us in that way?
Yeah, the telephone is a problem.
Okay. Have you actually gotten in trouble by some?
Your Honor, I got 99 problems, and the telephone is definitely a problem. It's definitely one of them.
The guards at the jail because they've instructed you to do something and you weren't able to hear them?
Yes.
Has that happened on more than one occasion?
It happens on several occasions.
Okay. And have you experienced over the course of your incarceration that your hearing is getting worse and worse?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. This is not a significant...
I mean, do they ever do jail passes? I mean, I guess they would have to do a pass. I mean, couldn't the judge allow her to go out and get her ears cleaned on a pass and come back? Wouldn't that be a kicker?
I'm going to move on to something else now, and this is not a significant injury, but I did want to address this with respect to the type of medical care that you are getting at the jail. Did something happen to you recently where you cut your arm?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the court what happened, please.
So I was walking past the washing machine on my way to the restroom, and I bumped into there's like a metal bracket that holds the washing machine in place, I guess, and it was my fault. I bumped into it.
And what happened?
So I cut my arm pretty badly.
So what did you do after you cut your arm?
So the timing was it's kind of interesting because the med nurse was there doing morning meds. So I got onto the bleeding wouldn't stop. It was just pouring out. And so I figured I'll get on the line with the other girls and I'll speak to the med nurse. So I waited my turn and I got to the med nurse and she says, "Whoa, what happened to you?" And I said, "My fault. I just bumped into the washing machine and I cut myself." So she looked at it and she said, "Yeah, that's a problem." I said, "Yeah,
Yeah, that's a problem. It's like Niagara Falls. It's like the Niagara Falls of cuts that can be remedied with a Band-Aid. I said, do you have a tourniquet? No, we have nothing at this jail. No Band-Aids, no Neosporin, no tourniquets. They had nothing. And it was gushing. I just had to use sanitary pads, Your Honor. I mean, this is absurd.
Can I get a Band-Aid or gauze or something, some antibiotic cream? She said, yeah, I don't have any antibiotic cream and I don't have a Band-Aid. So I looked at her and I said, well, what should I do? She says, well, why don't you use your toilet paper and put it on there? I said, but it's gushing. I can't put toilet paper on there. So one of the girls saw me and she said, oh my God. And she came running over and she opens up a sanitary napkin and she put it on there so that it was filling the sanitary napkin with blood.
And then one of them held a menstrual cup under it. And one had a sanitary napkin. Tampons were no good. We went through all the female hygiene products. I mean, come on.
And so another girl came over. She took the bloodied one away and she gave me hers too. And I was applying that. So I said to the nurse again, we're not going to be able to stop it holding this. Isn't there something you can do? She says, the best I could offer you would be to fill out a medical request form. So I said, you want me to do that now? She said, yes. I said, okay, can I have a medical?
You don't mind that there's going to be tons of blood on this form? I don't know if I know I'm right-handed, but, you know, she's holding her right arm. There might be a lot of blood pouring down on the form. I don't know if it might not dry in time. I mean, what we've been going for, okay, all right, I'm going to cut this short soon and save it. Save, maybe cut this in half for tomorrow. It's just too ridiculous.
Request form. She says, oh, I don't have any. I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And she said, I don't know what to tell you. She says, maybe the night nurse will have that.
Okay. So this was just a couple of days before you were transferred to protective.
Is that Sonny Tanner? I've been thinking about you. How are you? So nice to see you. Are you going to go to Donna's trial, Sonny? Let me know. I'd love to have you back on if you are.
Custody, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but do you recall that it was on Saturday, the 1st of February?
It was a Saturday morning, yes.
Okay. And so about what time of morning would this have been if this was the morning med nurse?
It could have been 9 or 10, okay. Somewhere in the morning.
Okay, and when she told you that she didn't have any sick call forms for you to request a Band-Aid and you would need to get it from the night nurse, approximately what time does the night nurse come?
So the night nurse comes anywhere from 11:30 to 2:30 in the morning.
11:30 p.m. to what time?
2:30 a.m.
To 2:30 a.m.
Right.
And in the meantime, you were supposed to use the feminine pads?
I called my husband. He told me to elevate my arm, to wash it, to try to wash it frequently, just to keep my arm up, and that's what I did. And one girl brought over toilet paper, but that was sticking to the wound, so that wasn't good. So I kept borrowing sanitary pads to hold it.
Okay. And at some point, did the night nurse come?
Yes, she came that night.
Okay. And what happened when she got there?
She didn't have a Band-Aid either.
Okay.
She didn't have antibiotic ointment either. And
I'm on trial for a murder when this woman has not been charged for not having a Band-Aid? Do you see the injustice, Your Honor? No Neosporin cream. This should be a crime. A crime. All right. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to save the rest. Where are we? Just so I know. Okay, we're about 43 minutes in. I have there is hours more testimony. And I promise I'll do it tomorrow. It's just my boyfriend has company over, and I promised I wouldn't make it go long tonight. But I will tomorrow, 6 p.m. I will go through this again. Before I go, I'm just gonna play my Donna song inspired by this testimony one more time. And then I'll go out like I usually do with my really iconic Donna song. But here's a little song inspired by this testimony.
Angela waiting, trial for murder. Light inside my arm was twisted, lonely in seclusion. I've been blacklisted, dreaming of a way to get bond. Wish Rashi could wave his magic wand. Clanking doors keep me awake at night. Have to pee in plain sight. Wasn't fleeing prosecution. I just needed to clear my head. Was going to return to America soon as Harvey and I found Zen. Free me, at least for a little while. Don't know nothing about extradition treaties. Just want a good night's sleep before trial. Sure, Leon County is known for seasons, but how can I live with all these undetectable diseases? Not a part of my body that doesn't feel pain. Ants crawling down my arms. My sciatica is inflamed. My breathing too heavy for my lawyer to decipher. Talking to counsel under my blanket. My feet swollen like I was bitten by a viper. Gain 1/4 of my weight, giving away chips and Twinkies to stay safe. Hate wearing purple, call me vain. My ear canals too narrow to drain. Can't wear my Speedo. Food is carb heavy. Can't even eat keto. Free me, at least for a little while. Don't know nothing about extradition treaties. Just want a good night's sleep before trial. Sure, Leon County is known for seasons, but how can I live with all these undetectable diseases? Not a part of my weight, giving away chips and Twinkies to stay safe. Hate wearing purple, call me vain. My ear canals too narrow to drain. Can't wear my Speedo. Food is carb heavy. Can't even eat keto. Free me, at least for a little while. Don't know nothing about extradition treaties. Just want a good night's sleep before trial. Sure, Leon County is known for season, but how can I live with all these undetectable diseases?
Okay. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 6. Gonna end with my iconic Donna song. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. You plotted a murder. 'cause you wanted to raise your daughter's kid. Tallahassee is just a stop on the way to civilization. Miami is where all the fancy people are at. The TV is a Power 5, you can't get away from that. Two-toe, tay-toe, hoo-ho, you know the guy you pay, and you can't get away from that. Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. You thought jail was just for the little people, but now you're so blankets with the locked up crew. You're a grandmother in lockdown, and your one-way ride to freedom you blew. Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. Your family are exiled from the social circles you swam in. We all know you never made that banana bread or offered to babysit for Dan, but you'll soon be making license plates and thinking about what could have been.